Hey everybody, Brock Frady here, helping you enjoy your ride. In today's video, we're going to take a look at this beautiful 2022 Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy. This is a top-of-the-line Hyundai Palisade, and it is absolutely jam-packed with luxurious features that you would typically find on $100,000 SUVs, but this one has got it all. It's absolutely incredible. It's got a wonderful ride, tons of safety features, tons of convenience features, and tons of luxury features. We're going to take a look at all of those. We're also going to take it for a spin so we see what it's like out on the road. But before we get started, I would like to thank Impex Auto Sales in Greensboro, North Carolina for the opportunity to film this beautiful Hyundai Palisade. I'll be sure to leave all of Impex Auto Sales contact information, including their website, in the description box below. One of the things that I love about this Hyundai Palisade in particular is the fact that it looks like it's got a lot of bling on the outside without being overdone. All the trim pieces that are here, and these are like muted trim pieces. We'll take a look at those a little closer in just a second, but you can see all of the trim, the silver looking parts all over the vehicle, door handles and everything. Plus, those aren't like too shiny. It's almost like they're like a tinted silvery looking material. But also look at this. You see that integrated LED light right there? A lot of manufacturers have integrated LED lights inside of their mirrors, but Hyundai takes it a step further and puts kind of like a reverse C shape right there inside of the rear view mirror. Then you have this light here, and it's neat when you see this lit up, all this big shape right there that really highlights the front of the Hyundai. I love all of the different lighting setups here. Again, there's that big LED daytime running light package almost. Plus you have a little light there that kind of continues it. But then you have these two big lights right here, lighting right here. So it's basically like this entire section from the top of the fender all the way down to here is just all lights. Then you have that beautiful Hyundai grille. That's a really nice looking grille. One of the things that kind of sticks out to me though, I'm gonna zoom in here on this, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's water spots all right here, and I just washed it, or I just basically hosed it off. And there are a ton of water spots that are collected on this top portion here, also down here below, that it's almost like the water kind of just sticks to it. That's not a huge deal, but it's just kind of a cosmetic thing that doesn't look all that great. I don't know if that can be prevented. So getting into a little bit more detail on the front, one of the cool things that I just noticed here is that there is a vent. You can see that's running on the opposite side of this light, and then that vent right there connects to, it's actually a functional air dam. You can see here, and that's going to sweep air here and onto the brake, ideally in order to cool the brake so that your brakes don't get overheated and you experience brake fade. And then your brakes are also ventilated. You can see that there's a chamber here that runs in the middle of that brake rotor so that your brakes stay cool. I love that wheel. That wheel is absolutely gorgeous. You can see the front and the rear here. Aren't those awesome? And those are 20-inch wheels. I think those are exclusive to the Calligraphy, but those things just make it look so good. Then you have a little dot right here. That's park assist. That's sonar sensors that beep if you get too close to something. This is all part of your driving safety stuff right here, radar cruise control and whatnot. There's a camera directly under the Hyundai emblem there. The front to me is kind of interesting looking when you're looking at it directly from the front. It's kind of round. You see that? Where everybody is looking to go squared off nowadays. Hyundai is kind of rounding the front off, not just kind of like an oval shape looking at it from the front, but also in that way. But at the same time, it's got kind of a slingshot look here in the back as well. And I think it works really, really well. It makes it look more elongated. And to me, that makes it look more substantial and luxurious. I love the brushed metallic look. I've already kind of addressed this in the very beginning, but you can see the brushed metallic look of that door handle, and you have them all over on the top, the roof rails, then down here, the trim around the windows. down here around the kick plate. That's kind of nice. But you can see here what I was talking about. You can see spots all on that stuff. You see that? And I mean, it wipes away really easily, you see? But it's just there as a result. And I think it was like the pollen, and I washed it off and then it dried, but still, it just, to me, that kind of takes away from it a little bit. Good looking vehicle. I love this color too as well. It works so well. And here's another thing that you know, kind of lighting and cameras and all that stuff nowadays. Look at all these lights. So you have lights here, LED, you have a signal indicator there, and then you have a camera down here. And that's on both front cameras as well. That's a lot going on, but Hyundai does it well with making it look nice and integrated. There's a little triangle right there, and that has to do with your radar cruise control. Plus there's a little dot that you can see right there. That's your rain sensing wipers, so they cut on automatically when it starts to rain. Another cool thing is that you've got a bunch of glass in the roof. So you can see your regular moonroof there, then your panoramic roof here, and there's a break here. A lot of manufacturers just put one piece of glass and then there's just another piece of glass immediately, but there's a break here, and like this looks like some, I don't know what these are, but I guess that's to reduce wind noise. But you have them back here on the roof as well. But it makes it look nice and roomy whenever you're inside. Coming around to the back, I love those rear tail lights, and that basically continues the design of the front. So you've got this big drop here. Those are really, really nice. Tow hitch. And then it continues with that kind of brushed aluminum look there down along the bottom. Beautiful Palisade emblem there. Looks really, really nice. And it's very simple. Everything about this vehicle is simple in its execution, and it's kind of understated, and it looks really nice. I like the fact that there's no like XL or XE or anything like that. It just says Palisade, that's it. That's really, really nice. I would like to see dual exhaust for no real functioning reason other than just the look of it. I just think that makes it look nice. Dual exhaust on the back. So that's kind of the exterior overview of the Hyundai Palisade. Excellent. Good looking vehicle, nice and long and luxurious. Tons of safety, like I said, but it's a great looking car. Under the hood of the Palisade is a 3.8 liter V6 that produces 291 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, 262 pound-foot of torque at 5,200 RPM. It has standard idle stop and go, which means that the engine shuts off whenever you come to a complete stop if you want it to. Front-wheel drive is standard on the Palisade still, but you do have the optional H-Track all-wheel drive system, which this one has. It has an 8-speed automatic transmission with Shift-tronic, and that's the paddle shifters on the steering wheel. We'll take a look at that. And it has a standard transmission cooler because you may need that for whenever you pull something with that nice tow hitch in the back. And everything under the hood is very simple, nice and clean. Pretty obvious where everything is. There's going to be your battery here, your air filter, brake fluid, all right there, coolant. I mean, wiper, and then coolant here. I was actually looking in my screen on my camera and I saw the coolant, but anyways, whatever. Brain doing funky things. GDI is gasoline direct inject. And then you have your engine fill right here is SAE 5W30. So that means you're going to use synthetic oil in this. Really nice and simple. The engine is really smooth too, and the transmission shifts beautifully. I really, really like how that works, and we'll take a look at that toward the end of the video when we take it for a spin. I like also how there's no hood prop that you have to put up. It has these shocks here. Over on the left and the right there, and you can see that there are marks that are all right there. Those are crumple zones, so in the event of a severe front collision that's going to crumple up and stay out of the cabin, that's exactly what you want it to do. Really cool stuff. Coming around to the rear of the Palisade, there's a couple of different ways that you can open the power rear door. It's really, really nice. You can simply access the key, and on the not the very bottom, but next to the bottom, you can push this button and hold it in. There's also a rubber button that's going to be directly under the Hyundai button emblem there, and you can just reach under, feel the rubber button, and squeeze it. As long as you have this on you, this will open. We're going to use this to access it. So you just press and hold, and it opens right up. You can see the turn signals flash. I like how fast the door comes up. That's really, really nice. And it opens to a nice height, which that height is adjustable as well. So you can open it to a specific customized height opening, so that if you have difficulty reaching the button to close it, you can, adjust it to where it's not so hard to reach, or you can just simply hit and hold this again and it will close. Let's take a look at how the third row operates in this Palisade. But before we get to the third row, I want to point out just how much room there is right here. Also, there's a little tab right here, and you can just lift this up, and that's going to give you access into the back or into the very bottom. You can take this hook, and you can just hook it right here, and that's going to hold that door up. But then you have a tonneau cover that's right here, and you can remove this. And if you have your third row seat folded down, this tonneau cover can snap in place up here, and it allows you to hide things in the back that you don't want people to see. This is also a pretty deep well for things to store things as well, so that's really nice. You have a net here that you can attach to points that are here, so that if you have items that you don't want rolling around, you can just put them in this net. That's a nice feature. And then you also have a jack here, so that if you ever get a flat tire, you know that your jack is here. You also have more tire changing equipment there. And there's also, it's like it's a flathead screw looking thing that's in the bottom of this right here, and that's where you're gonna lower your spare tire. And so the room back behind that third row is actually really nice. That's a good amount of room that you have there. So take a look to the far left of your screen. There is a big bank of buttons. You can see that the top set of buttons says second row. This says third row. And then this says left side and right side. So driver's side, passenger side. And then this is going to fold the seat up, and then this is going to fold the seat down. So if I want to fold the driver's side third row down, then I just press this button here, and there it goes. The headrest automatically folds down, which I really, really like that. That is such a great feature. And again, you can see the button that I'm holding in order to do that is here. So third left side down, third right side down, and you can see this headrest fold pop. That is a great feature. So now really it's one touch folding for the third row seat, very little effort. And now you can see that I have all that room. That's a tremendous amount of room right there. But there's more. So you can see my second row captain's chairs right there. Those are very nice. We'll take a look at those in a second. But I can see that this says second row, left side, driver's side. So that's going to be this seat here. And I can fold it down, and it springs forward. And it looks like it doesn't fold completely flat. I'm sure you can press it down a little more. Then on the right side, passenger side, boom. So now let's take a look from the perspective of the second row, just how much room I have. Oh, and my camera bag is there, so that's kind of not fair. There we go, that's nice. That does the trick right there. Okay, they do fold completely flat, so that's so good. So look at how much room I have now. Tons of room. And then I can, now it looks like I cannot fold the second row back up. I can only fold it down with the one touch push button. But it looks like for the third row, I can actually bring it back up. There it is. And the headrest doesn't pop back up. You have to pull that up back, or you have to pull that back up manually. And now here comes the passenger side of the third row. Very cool. I really like that. And then it gives you a little beep whenever it's in place. And then that's it for the operation of the third row seat. Up and down, one touch power. Great, great feature. And so then there is the third row in place. All the quilted Napa leather there. That is really nice. I really, really like that. And then you can also see here on each side on the wall of the third row, I can do the same thing here. Oh, no. This is not for folding the seat. This is for reclining. Oh, that is so cool. So I can actually recline that seat. That's really, really nice. I like that. Take a look at the door here. All the quilted leather, sunshade here. This is just so nice. All the different materials that all come together, but they all really make sense. This has the Harman Kardon stereo upgrade as well. In order to bring this seat up, all I did was push that button. Quilted leather here, silver piping on the seat headrest. Nice leather seating surface. Really super luxurious, but you also have a bank of buttons right there, and inside that bank of buttons is going to be heated and ventilated rear seats. That is so nice. You also have climate controls there, all right there. You also have a PowerPoint all access right there with an actual outlet on the far right side. But then you also have a quick phone charger right there, a lightning cable for your iPhone or your Apple device. You also have one on the driver's seat as well. I want to emphasize real quick the back seat of this thing. all the way from the ceiling of the inside to the seat itself, to how much room there is in the second row seat, and just how luxurious this entire experience is. It's blowing my mind right now that this is a Hyundai. Let me show you what I mean. And look at this, it's like a felt material along the whole roof. And it's really, really nice. Remember I showed you the sunroof. There's the sunroof, the front one. And then take a look at just how nice and luxurious that front is, the whole dash and everything. That's just beautiful. But then you have vents there in your roof. And then there's the whole rear sunroof there as well. Look how big that is. That goes all the way almost to the overhead of the third row. That is so nice. But the interior of this thing is just really, really good. LED lighting integrated there into the ceiling with overhead vents. And I like the fact that the vents are overhead. There are some manufacturers that put like vents here on the sides, but that, you know, if you're on a long trip and you have a pillow right there or something, it blocks your vent. Nothing is going to block the vent in the roof right there, and that's really nice. And it might sound just kind of basic and obvious, but the operation of this vent is really nice. You can just simply turn it, you can point the direction that you want the vent to blow, and then you can just cut it on or off right there. That's really nice, but really effective. This is such a nice, comfy second row seat. But then look, I've got the seat reclined, so I'm super comfortable. I've got tons of leg room. Plus you've got these little cutouts in the back of the second or of the first row seat. Nice little pocket there. But it's just got a bunch of room, and there's a tiny little bitty hump right there, but it's not a big deal. It just makes it so that it's really, really roomy. Armrest here. So this is just a very comfortable seat. I'm way laid back in this thing now. This would be easy to travel for hours in. Heated and air conditioned second row, really reclined, Napa leather, panoramic roof. Yeah, sign me up. So let's take a look at the vehicle from the perspective of the driver's seat. But before we do that, let's take a quick look at the buttons on the key fob. There are 5 buttons, and you can see the top one is lock. Below that is unlock. Below that is remote start. It says hold and it's a circle. Below that is the rear liftgate, and below that at the very bottom is going to be your panic alarm. In order to use the remote start button here, the doors have to be locked, and then you press and hold the circular button, third button down, and it fires right up. Then you can see that a couple of lights blink to let you know that it's started. In the event that you're having to start it from the inside of your house, you know that it is started. And then whenever you want to enter the Palisade, all you have to do is press the little button here on the door handle, and that lets you in, and the vehicle is still running. And then at that point, you're just going to get in, put your foot on the brake, and proceed. So that's really, really nice. Remote start. Let's hop in and take a look at everything from the perspective of the driver. All right, let's take a look at the steering wheel. You can see over on this left side, you have voice commands, mode, phone pickup, phone hang up, audio volume is here, and then that's going to be like preset station scan. Over here on the right side is a pages icon. That's basically information that's going to be a display that pops up in the center cluster here. Cruise control, okay, so that's basically like a select button. Resume and set, and that's going to be speed for your cruise control. This is radar cruise control. That sets the distance that it's going to maintain between you and the vehicle in front of you, and that's cancel the cruise control. I mentioned you have paddle shifters, so you have negative here and positive here on the back side of the steering wheel, and you can see here that you can downshift here and upshift here. And you can do that in real time. That's really nice. The stalk that you see here on the left is going to be for your turn signals and your headlights, and you can see that it says auto right there, and auto means that it just is going to cut on your headlights automatically whenever it gets dark outside. That cuts everything off. That's parking lights, and that's lights on kind of like manually, so you can cut them on. What I usually do is just maintain it right here, and I just let them cut on automatically as the sun goes down. But in order to do auto, you actually have to do that, or that's automatic bright. So you can push this stalk forward, and you see an auto icon light up on the dash. It looks like that. That lights up on the dash to let you know your automatic high beams are active, so that if you're driving around and you can have your high beams on, and it can sense, the Palisade can sense whenever you're around other people, and it will automatically dim your high beams. That's right there. And then signal is here, and you can hear that it'll blink 3 times without fully engaging it. Fully engaged is this. I'm just going to press it down and lock it. And that's like if you're at a turn or at a stop sign or a stop light. Also notice that you have a little camera that pops up right there, and that's the camera that's underneath the rear view mirror on the driver's side. So it cancels it, so you can see that's the tachometer, and then there's the speedometer, digital speedometer right there. But watch, I'm going to engage it, and now that lights up. That is so cool. I love that. And that does it for the passenger side as well. The right stalk that we're looking at right now is the wiper stalk, and you can see here there's a lot of different text, a lot of different font right there. It says mist, off, auto, low, and high. And the reason it says auto is because it has automatic rain sensing wipers. That's actually nice. And the way to think about this is these different selections are determined by the position of this stalk. So I can push it up for mist, off, auto, low, and high. And I want to show you something fantastic that Hyundai has done that I've never seen in any manufacturer. If you're familiar with automatic rain sensing wipers and the different stalk positions, you know that it can kind of be confusing to know which position your stalk is in. And so what Hyundai has done to help you with that is whenever you move the position of this stalk, it is highlighted right here, and this dial, your RPM and miles per gallon, transitions into a monitor to let you know what position this stalk is in. So see that? So it says front wiper is off right now, and then I'm going to pull it down once. Now it's in auto. So that's telling me right now that that dial is telling me that it's in an automatic rain sensing wiper position. So they're going to cut on automatically if it starts to rain, which is what I recommend. Then low, then high. That is a great feature, Hyundai, just to let me know what position my wiper stalk is in. I love that. And then right here is adjust the sensitivity of the automatic rain sensing wipers, a little dial right there. And then this is for the rear wiper operation. Okay, I'm going to show you real quick a few of the buttons on the steering wheel. I basically explained their function. Now I'm going to show you how they work. Whenever you press mode right here, this has to do with your radio. So different mode functions for the radio. And so whenever I press this, I can see that on the dash or on the screen, this pops up. So it takes me into my mode settings for audio. And this is also touchscreen here as well. So I can hit phone projection, Bluetooth audio, sounds of nature. And this has to do with my steering wheel. What happens whenever I press the mode button on the steering wheel? What do I want it to do? And so I can do all that, and then I can press mode, and it's going to now take me, right now the radio is playing. So that's pretty cool. So that's mode, and it's sounds of nature. That is actually sounds of nature. Listen to that. I love that, Hyundai. That is so peaceful. So let's just say you're sitting outside waiting for your kids to finish their soccer practice. You cut on your cooled seat, you put on sounds of nature, and you just sit back under your panoramic sunroof, and you just relax in your Palisade. I love this. Okay, enough of that. Over on the right side of the steering wheel is cruise control. And so what you're going to do is press that, and you can see it says cruise pops up right here. And at that point, and conditions are not met, it says over here on the right side, because obviously I'm sitting still. But this, when you press cruise, you're going to then set your speed right here, and it will maintain that speed. Nice and easy. Then I have a little pages icon right here on the right side, and I can press that, and I can see the first one is compass, the second one is fuel economy, third is radar cruise, and then back to compass. So that's really nice. I can see OK, and then you can see on the right side, whenever I'm toggling OK, in the tachometer, I have drive mode, comfort, tire pressure, attention level, it's high. I don't need coffee yet. Accumulated info, so that just tells me historical info is another way of saying that. And then back to fuel economy. Oh, nice. There's my heads-up display control, display height and rotation and brightness. I was telling you about that before. And then I can press exit so that I can go into fuel economy. That's really cool stuff. So that goes into more of the detailed settings of cruise control, radar cruise control, and a bunch of different settings there. I love also the fact that this is all digital. The whole layout of the dash right here that the driver sees is completely digital, no analog. Left side is this speedometer with analog, but it's not. It's a digital hand and digital in the very center there. And then on the right side is tachometer with temperature, miles, and fuel gauge on the bottom left. Really, really nice setup. I've already mentioned the simplicity of this layout right here. I really, really, really like it. The top block of buttons is climate. This is all drive modes. Basically, all of this is kind of drive modes. And then this is heated and ventilated seat controls with your heated steering wheel right there in the middle. But as far as the climate controls are concerned, all you do is press auto, and you can see that's lit up, it's orange, and that maintains the temperature just like the central air in your house. So all you need to do to maintain a comfortable cabin temperature is to turn it, and you can see both sides, driver and passenger, are changing at the same time. And the reason that is because sync is enacted. So now if I press sync, now I only have control of the driver's side, you see that, and then the passenger has control of theirs. So dual zone climate control. The bottom row of buttons here is all climate off, front defrost, AC, manually adjusting the fan speed, fan mode, so that's fan direction, rear climate control for the third row and second row, and then rear defrost, and then recirculate. We've already gone over this. Auto hold, that automatically holds the brake whenever you come to a complete stop. That is really nice. And then drive modes here, we talked a little bit about that while I was driving the vehicle, but this, whenever you turn it to the far left, all the way it says smart, and that's basically a customizable driving thing, so you can adjust how the pedal responds and how the that's basically a customizable drive mode. And then over to the far right is eco, so that makes it more drive more fuel efficiently, more pedal travel in order to achieve speed. And then comfort, and then sport. Really nice. And whenever it's in sport, all of the font of all the numbers on the dash change and it turns red. Really cool. Automatic engine shut off, park assist, and then this is your viewing monitor system for all of your cameras. Really nice setup. Then you have a bank of buttons all right here. So you have a dial here that's for your power to your radio and volume, and then tuning and enter and file are all right here. This is all audio. Map, nav, radio, media, emergency flashers, seek and track. This is a customizable button. You can customize whatever happens, whatever you want to happen whenever you press this button. That's really cool. It's kind of like a quick access menu. And then setup. So let's take a look at those real quick. All right, so the map, it looks really, really good, nice and clean. And the way I got there is to press the map button, and it's all touch screen. So you can see there, I can press there. And if I wanted to, this is kind of cool because I can just press there. And if I wanted to actually go there from where I am, set as destination, boom, I go there. I have POI categories, and that goes to coffee shops, parking, gas stations, fast food, restaurants. So let's go fast food in the area, searching, boom. And I like the fact that Hyundai designates between restaurants and fast food, so that if you're on the road, you're traveling, you've got the kids in the car and you just want to get in and out, boom, fast food. And you can see I can just flip that and I can pick the fast food area that I want. I'm going to go near current position, and there it is. That's really convenient. I like that feature. And then I can go convenience stores, so that, and you see how there's a hesitation there? I would like for that touchscreen to be a little bit more sensitive. That would be nice. But convenience stores, there you go. Near current position. There it is. Really cool. So I can do the same thing all right here. And then there's 2 pages. Police stations, community, and roadside assistance. And you see it swipes really well, but whenever you go to make a selection, and it's doing it now, there's a little bit of a hesitation. So that's that. That's all within map. And then so the way I got to that again is map and then POI categories. Navigation, I can go places. And so I can enter, I can type, and I can also do voice search.
Please say the POI name or address you want to find.
Starbucks.
25. Results found. Please say the line number.
1.
You will be guided to the first destination on the list.
There you go. And it's also coming up in the center. Map is out of date, but whatever. Just update the map. But you can see here, that's how it's going to take me. That's pretty neat. And then I can go, so that's under nav, and then I have POI, point of interest categories again, previous destinations, and then I have a top 5 all right here. So I can go home, work, favorite, all of those. Really neat. Address book. Then I can go radio, and whenever I hit radio, the radio comes up. I like this kind of layout. I think this is also customizable, so that's really cool. So I'm under FM. I can go AM, XM, so that was Sirius XM radio, and then I can listen to it in HD if I want to. HD allows a broader bandwidth of radio stations, so you can actually access more radio stations, and it's a clearer sound. It's like CD quality. Then I can go here and I can just manually tune here, or I can tune right here at the very bottom. See that? So that's really neat. And then, so that's radio. And then whenever I press radio again, it does the same thing as this button does by going between different radio modes. And then here are preset memorized stations that I can have right there as well. Then I can go media, and this is going to be more along the lines of XM and Bluetooth, USB, Android Auto, and Apple Carplay. One of the things that I noticed about this with Android Auto and Apple Carplay is that it is not wireless. So you actually have to have a Lightning cable or an Android cable connected to the vehicle manually in order to use Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And then Sounds of Nature. God, that is just the neatest thing. It's just about the small stuff, right? And then Seek and Track is all right there. Then Setup at the very end is all right here. And this is how you're going to customize the Palisade to fit exactly the way you want it to work according to these different areas. So I hit Setup and then I go Vehicle, and now I can customize the vehicle in these different areas. You see that? And so under driver assistance, I have SCC reaction, I have driving convenience, under heads up display, there, under cluster, there, climate, seat. So that's really, really nice. So going back to driver assistance, SCC reaction is normal. And so SCC is smart cruise control. So this basically determines the distance between me and the vehicle in front of me and how quickly it responds to the acceleration or deceleration of the vehicle, or actually the acceleration, so that if a vehicle pulls away from me and the Palisade wants to speed up, how fast do you want it to respond to that? That's a great feature. Driving convenience right there, lane following assist, highway driving assist. I like this, highway auto curve slowdown. And you can press one of these buttons and it will give you a little quick summary of what that feature does. Automatically decelerates in a highway curve zone. I like that. That's a great feature. And then, so I can go then to all of these and customize features within the category here. So last thing, let's go to convenience. Welcome light, what do I want it to do? And that is the light that lights up the door handle when I approach the vehicle at night. Enable on driver approach, yes. That is so nice. Wireless charging system, auto rear wiper in reverse. So whenever you put it in reverse, it will automatically wipe the rear glass so you can see out of it. That's really, really cool. Door, lights. So here's what I really recommend. Going to Setup, whenever you first get one of these, go to Setup and then just play around in this setup display so that you can actually customize the Palisade to work exactly the way you want it to work, because there's no use in getting a vehicle that is this sophisticated and this nice and not being able for it to perform exactly the way you want it to do. You accomplish that by going to Setup and just by pressing these buttons and going and seeing what ways you can customize the Palisade exactly the way you want it to be. One of the things that the Palisade also has is the automatic engine shutoff, and that is active right now. And so it's kind of a weird sensation. I've dealt with it in a couple of vehicles, but when you come to a complete stop, there it goes. The engine is off right now. And so whenever when you release your foot off the brake, the engine cuts back on. That personally, that does take a little bit of getting used to, but I think it's nice because it puts less CFCs in the air. As I mentioned before, this thing has a nice, smooth, easy transmission. It's got plenty of horsepower. It's a 3.8 liter V6, so it's got all you need in the way of power. One of the things that I have noticed in driving over here, I was on the highway 65, 70 miles an hour. There is a little bit of wind noise in the back that I noticed. But right now, I've got the moon roofs open. Both of them or the panels are open, not the glass. And it's nice and quiet. I'm going 46 miles an hour right now. It feels very sturdy, very confident, and it's nice and quiet. It's floaty, but not like old school Cadillac floaty. One of the things too that I really want to point out to you, and I'll do that here in a second, is the turning radius in this thing. It is absolutely ridiculously small, and that's a really, really good thing, a small turning radius. So I'm going to signal here, and whenever I signal, there's a camera. The camera activates that's under the perspective mirror that you signal. So if I signal left, the camera activates under the rear view mirror of the driver's side. But watch this turning radius. I don't know if you can see that, but that is incredible. All right, I'm gonna gas it. That's all the way to the floor. Really nice. You also have selectable drive modes that you can see down here on the dash. It says drive mode, and you can turn this, and in real time, if I go all the way over to the left, it says smart on the dash now. If I turn it right one more time, it says eco. That's going to be more fuel efficient. That's going to increase the pedal operation, so I have to push it further down to achieve speed. Then I can turn it right, that's comfort, and then I can turn it again, and that's sport. And I can actually feel it. It just bumped up a little bit on the accelerator. That's really nice. Also, I can feel the active steering right now. It basically is trying to keep me inside the lane, and so I can feel that if I turn the wheel right now, if I turn, or if I get over without signaling, hear that? So that just beeped to let me know, hey, knucklehead, turn on your signal the next time. But also I felt a nice little vibration in the steering wheel. So now I'm gonna signal and get over, and it permitted me to do that. So that's a cool little safety feature. But as far as the drive and everything, engine or cabin quietness, really nice and quiet. The cabin feels good, especially with that sunroof panel open. It just makes it feel more airy and open. I like the acceleration. Like I said, I like the kind of cushiony feel whenever you're driving 45, 50 miles an hour. One little knock against it is a little bit of highway road noise in the back, but you know what? That's okay. The heads-up display is really nice. It's super clear. It's like white lettering that's set against the backdrop of the street right now that I can see. On the left side of the heads-up display, it shows the current speed limit, so it knows that based on mapping. And then I can see there are two lines, and that lets me know that my lane keeping assist feature is now active. And it also shows me my speed, so it's the speedometer. That's a customizable feature. You can raise and lower it, as well as the projection. You can also make it more dim or more light based on your eyesight at night. One of the things that, speaking of driving at night, one of the things that I noticed in the map is that it has a blue light filter. That's always a really nice thing, because it actually is designed to reduce eye strain, and that's especially effective at night or on long trips whenever you're driving around, because that can really mess you up, is how tired your eyes get based on the light that's being projected at you from the screen, because that's a pretty sizable screen. So right now I'm in a pretty tight parking space or parking lot, and I'm going to use the backup cameras to park. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to press the R button for reverse, and then there are my backup cameras. You see all the lines? So the blue lines on the screen are fixed. The yellow are what's called dynamic. Anything that is yellow is dynamic, so it moves with the steering wheel. God, that's the smoothness of that transition is really nice. So now all I do is I just line up the lines that are on the lot with the lines that are on the screens. So you see the blue box that is fixed. I want ultimately to put that, basically lay that over the white on the parking lot. And then that way I know I'm in this space perfectly. And then ultimately the yellow is going to overlay the blue, and you can see the above view there, so I can see where I am in conjunction to the vehicles next to me from an overhead view. And look at that. that's absolutely perfect inside this space. And I got a huge truck to my left and an SUV to my right. So now I can use this red line to line up the parking space from a backing perspective where the bumper is. Okay, everybody, that's our detailed look at the 2022 Palisade. I really, as you can already tell, I really love this vehicle. It's simple, it's luxurious, it's safe, and it's jam-packed with all the latest and greatest technology, and it rides like a dream. So you cannot break the bank, but you can impress everybody because it has quilted Napa leather, a nice Harman Kardon stereo. It even has heated and ventilated second row seating. It's just good all the way around. Plus, it's really fuel efficient for a third row vehicle. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. If you liked it, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and also subscribe to my channel. I would love an opportunity to reach out to you and to bring you more videos on a regular basis. Also, please be sure to check out Impex Auto Sales in Greensboro, North Carolina, and their full inventory. They have like 10 million cars in stock. It's absolutely incredible. But remember, the most important thing of all, have a wonderful day, everybody.